Right. So I wanted to ask what is nationalism and patriotism? I once asked you earlier, but you were not available after that. You said later on that you weren't available. So this time I would like to ask what's patriotism and nationalism. So if you would be something.
What's your name?
No.
Umang is asking what is nationalism and what is patriotism.
So quickly, I would like to tell you why I'm asking this question. It's basically on the lines of extremists, like the Nazism and all. They were nationalists too, but they were extremists. So this is why I'm asking this.
See, Umang, man always requires something to separate him from others. Man always requires something to separate himself from others. In this separation is the protection of his ego. If I were just the same as you, if I were just the same as you, how will you say that I am I and you are you? So it is very important that in some ways you declare that I am different from you. And man has created 1,000 ways in which he can separate himself from others. What are these 1,000 ways? He will give himself labels according to economic classification, religion, caste, educational qualifications, of course, gender, age. It is very important for us to give ourselves labels. What is a label? A label is a superficial answer to the question, who am I? So somebody asks you, who are you? And you can very quickly say, I am a 20-year-old male pursuing an engineering course. That makes it convenient for you. You can provide an answer. The political entity which you call as the country is another such label. Remember, I am talking of the political entity, that which has been created by politicians. It is necessary for you to be separated. So you find another way to be separated. I belong to country X, you belong to country Y. And remember, in this separation, as we said, lies the sustenance of the ego. I get an answer to the question, who am I? Who am I? I am the one who belongs to country X. Now I can answer this. I have an identity. Getting it? You can divide yourselves on the basis of tribal affiliations. You can divide yourself on the basis of all kinds of beliefs. You can keep putting yourself into groups and groups and groups. And what is the purpose of doing all this? So that you have an identity, a collective identity. I am somebody. I am somebody. It is just that this identity is fed so deep into our minds since childhood that we never really question it. We never really question it. Ask yourself, what really is the usefulness of having countries? Ask yourself, why must this planet be really divided into nations? Is mankind anyway benefiting from it? In the history of mankind, thousands of wars have been fought, and they have brought great suffering. And a large proportion of those wars have been fought in the name of nationalism. And the ones who have been at the forefront in these wars have been called patriots. And since the day you were born, you have been taught to worship patriots. But you've never asked, what is patriotism exactly? To kill somebody else because it doesn't belong to your so-called country, that is patriotism? Because if you were a patriot, you would always have an affiliation, you would always be biased. What else happens in the name of countries except that large armies are kept? Why must a country have an army? You would say for its own defense. Defense against whom? Defense against whom? Another country. Alright? And why must that another country have an army? To defend itself against the first country. So why do armies exist at all? Because there are countries. Today, there is so much nuclear material on the earth. More than 10,000 warheads. So much material on the earth that you can destroy the earth hundreds of times. Destroying the earth even once is enough. But today, you have so much nuclear material on earth that you can destroy the earth hundreds of times. You destroy it once, you destroy it again, you destroy it again, and you keep destroying it. And the countries who have these warheads say that we have them, we produce them in order to defend ourselves against other countries. What is this madness? What is this madness? And you feel very proud. Every citizen feels proud when his country adds to its nuclear might. People celebrate. Wow, my country has 200 more bigger and more powerful and more brutal nuclear weapons now. I'm asking you something. Surely the Ganga is a beautiful river, is it not? Surely the Himalayas are beautiful mountains, are they not? Are the Alps any less beautiful? Are the Alps any less beautiful? And there are beautiful rivers in Europe. I'm asking you, is it not a tragedy that you cannot go to those rivers in Europe? Today, if you want, you can just pick up your bike or car and go to the Himalayas. They are not very far away. 4 hours. But you cannot do that when it comes to the Indus River. And the Indus is a beautiful river. The ancient literature of this country came up on the banks of the Indus. But you can't go to the Indus. Why? Why? Today, and the Indus is close by, it's not far away. You can't go to the Indus. Why can't you go to the Indus? It lies in Pakistan. You can't even dream of going to the Indus. And is it not bad that when the entire earth was available to us, we were so stupid that we created these boundaries, and now we are saying that whatever is outside my boundary is not accessible to me. You cannot come to the Ganga and I cannot go to the Indus. Is that not highly stupid? I have to remain within this boundary, and you have to remain within your own boundary. And when somebody has to remain within his boundary, what is that place called? A jail. Just that this jail is so large that you don't feel that this is a jail. You can't go outside without obtaining permission, of course. First go obtain the permission of the authorities, and only then, just like in a jail. But then you feel so proud of the entire affair. So proud. A particular day is approaching, and there have been very sane people who are asking that, let there be celebration, let there be love. I'm talking of the day that is tomorrow. Let there be celebration, let there be love. Why are you displaying missiles and tanks? Whom are you trying to scare? But that's the whole point of a country. I'll kill the other one. Because man's mind is such that he cannot live without violence. And if there is no violence, what is the need of boundaries? Tell me, if there is no violence, if there is no separation in the mind, what is the need of a boundary? Armies feel good. Of course, they have to feel good, because if there are no boundaries, there will be no armies. So armies naturally feel good. And there is another class that feels good. Politicians. If there are 200 countries in the world, there will be 200 presidents. Wonderful. So let there be 400 countries, so that there may be 400 presidents. So politicians, yes, of course, for them it's very important that the concept of the nation state is upheld. For them it is very important. So had India remained undivided, there could have been only one prime minister. India got divided into two. Now there can be two prime ministers. Two persons can fulfill their ambitions. Both of them now can claim that we are prime ministers. So it is good that boundaries are being created. For whom? For that ambitious politician. And you do not realize that. You worship that politician. And these very same armies that you are so fond of, ultimately they turn upon their own citizens. Have you heard of an event called Tiananmen Square in the history of China? Who killed all those protesting students? And those students, so many of them were your age. There was a particular place, a particular square in which they were sitting and protesting, asking for democracy. Students like you. And tanks were brought in to crush those students, and thousands were killed. This same army that you are so fond of ultimately kills you. Because that's what the politician wants. Power. Power over whom? You. And the army is the instrument. But then we are so deeply steeped in our conditioning that we will never inquire intelligently. We will never ask, what is all this? What is all this? Why must there be separation? Why must there be boundaries? We will not ask. Yes, of course, India is beautiful. But which India are we referring to? That India which is a product of the political process? Or that India which gave the world its first light of wisdom? I'm greatly fond of India. But not India, the political unit. No, because political units come and go. Maps keep on changing. I am fond of that India in which the openness of mind was first learned. That India from where the Upanishads were born. The land of Buddha, the land of Mahavir, the land of Nanak. That is my India. And that India does not exist on a map. As far as that India goes, Christ is an Indian, Einstein is an Indian. Everybody who is intelligent is an Indian. And obviously, that India does not have 1.3 billion people. That India is a very, very privileged and a rare place where not everybody can enter. It's not a geography. It's not a piece of land. The country that you usually refer to is just a piece of land. That's why it can be denoted on a map, just as a plot can be shown on a piece of paper. Mostly what people mean by a country is just a plot. But what is it about a plot that is so fascinating? Nothing. It's something else. Know the real India. And that real India has no president and no prime minister. That real India needs no armies. That real India is indestructible. That real India does not need a Republic Day parade. That real India is universal. Abraham Lincoln is an Indian. Faiz Ahmad Faiz is an Indian. I'm asking you, just look at the perverse effects of confining yourself to the boundaries on a map. You know of a few Indian greats. But today I ask you, have you heard of Li Tzu? You'll say no. I'll ask you, have you heard of Chuang Tzu? Have you read Lao Tzu? You'll say no. And why have you not read them? Why do they deserve this contempt? Because they do not belong to your country. But if I ask you, have you heard of Krishna? You'll say yes. And I'm saying Lao Tzu is as magnificent as Krishna. But you will not go to Lao Tzu. Just because his place of birth lies outside a particular line. And you have identified yourself very deeply with that particular line. I ask you, have you heard of Bahauddin? You will say no. And the same is the case with any identity. Any identity. Not only with the national identity, identities of religion, economics, ideologies, all kinds of things. They limit you. They make you remain a dwarf, a pygmy. They make you waste this one precious life. Are you getting it? A few of you might not be feeling pleased with what I am saying, because we take pride in calling ourselves patriots. And what is our patriotism all about? That when your cricket team is playing a match, you go and shout, "We want a sixer." That is our shallow patriotism. Or go and abuse other countries on Facebook. That is our shallow patriotism. Go and spoil the roads. Go and spit on public walls. Misuse all public property. Go and urinate on railway tracks and then say, "I love my India." Do not pay income tax. India is one of those countries in the world where we have the biggest thieves who will not pay their taxes. Do not pay the income tax. But in the evening, go switch on your TV and say, "Yes, India, India, India must win." That is your common patriot. Who am I? I am a patriot. Why? Because I keep abusing Pakistan all the time. That is my patriotism. Ask yourself, what is all this? All right.
That boundaries are limitation. So I would take a step beyond this. I would say, so you said, keep armies limit us of they several times have a step that is not there are several ends and 98% of my knowledge incidences which are very much helpful for people who are being held by armies. Sir, in recent the cases, the floods.
Right. In Uttaranchal, yes. The army played a beautiful role, yes.
The army was afraid.
Yes.
And sir, in Gujarat also.
Yes, there is no doubt about it. He has raised a very nice point. What's her name? Rishabh Seth. Rishabh is saying, sir, the army plays a very humanitarian role as well. The army helps people, for example, in the recent Uttaranchal floods. Hundreds, maybe thousands were saved by the army. When there was an earthquake in Kashmir, it was the army that came to the rescue. And there are several other examples as well. But Rishabh, tell me, when the army is saving people in Uttaranchal, is it using missile launchers? Is it using nuclear weapons? Is it using any guns? Yes. It is there to provide service like a saint. Like a saint. It is not the armed machinery, not the ammunition that is helping. Are you getting it? Are you using missiles to help people in Uttaranchal? Are you using grenades? Do you get the difference? There is a difference between a service-oriented force that is there to help people and a force that has been mobilized to attack and kill. The armies of the world are primarily oriented to attack and kill. This humanitarian part of theirs is only a side function that we can also do this if needed. But this is not their primary objective. Yes, of course, there must be people like these, groups like these, organizations like these that are useful at the time of disasters. I mean, you have the fire brigade, right? They too are well-trained professionals and they must be fit. And they fight fires, which can be a life-threatening occupation. But are they carrying rifles? Are they carrying rifles? Do fire brigade people arrive on tanks? Yes. You want to help people? Help people. What is all this destructive arrangement for? What is the point of that? Are you getting the point? Of what help? Bishop, of what help to anybody is a nuclear bomb? Ask yourself and find out whether a nuclear bomb can be of help to anybody, except as something that can make the other person scared. And in the extreme case, as something which can totally annihilate the other person. You will be vaporized. You won't be killed. You will be vaporized. So better be afraid of me. You did an activity, fearlessness. Are you trying to rid people of fear or are you trying to strike fear in them? Remember, we are talking against the very concept of boundaries. we are trying to find out why does man so desperately need boundaries? Why does man so desperately need boundaries? And we know that every boundary is a separation.